The morning of Grandpa Williams' will reading was cold and gray, matching the atmosphere in the lawyer's wood-paneled office perfectly. I sat in a corner, watching my family members arrange themselves according to their perceived importance in the Thompson family hierarchy. My older brother Marcus lounged in the leather chair closest to Mr. Patterson's desk, radiating the calm. All my love, Grandpa William. P.S. Don't tell anyone what you find, especially not your brother. I read the letter 3 times, my hands shaking. Grandpa had been more than just a successful businessman. He was also a collector, with an eye for valuable antiques that few people knew about. When I was young, he taught me about maker's marks, provenance, and the secret signatures that distinguished genuine treasures from clever forgeries. The next morning, I drove to Docker Street, an industrial area that had seen better days. Warehouse number 7 loomed before me, its red brick walls weathered but solid. The padlock was heavy, crusted with rust that flaked away as I inserted the key. The door groaned open, revealing darkness beyond. I fumbled for a light switch and fluorescent bulbs flickered reluctantly to life. My breath caught in my throat. The warehouse was enormous, its contents hidden beneath dozens of dust covers. But it was the organization that struck me first. Everything was meticulously arranged, with carefully typed labels and catalog numbers. I approached the nearest shape and carefully lifted the cover. Underneath stood a Louis XV commode, its marquetry still pristine despite its age. Even through the dust, I could tell it was genuine, worth at least $200,000 to the right buyer. My hands trembling, I moved to the next piece. A Tiffany lamp, its leaded glass casting colorful shadows. Then a Gustav Klimt sketch protected behind UV-resistant glass. Each piece I uncovered was more valuable than the last. The office was at the back, a small room with filing cabinets and a solid wooden desk. And there, on a shelf behind the desk, sat an ornate music box. My grandmother's initials were engraved on its silver surface. As I reached for it, a floorboard creaked behind me. I spun around to find Marcus standing in the doorway, his expression shifting from scorn to confusion as he took in the unveiled treasures. "What is all this?" he demanded. "These weren't in the company inventory." "This isn't company property," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "Grandpa left it to me." He strode forward, grabbing my arm. "Don't be stupid, Emma. Everything Grandpa had belongs to Thompson Motors. I'm in charge now, and I'm telling you to hand over that key." I yanked my arm free. "No, Marcus. This is mine. You got your shares, your power, your position. This warehouse and everything in it is my inheritance." His face darkened. "You think you can handle something like this? You can barely keep that pathetic restoration business afloat. I'm calling the company lawyers. We'll see who this really belongs to." He stormed out, already pulling out his phone. I quickly grabbed the music box and locked the office door. I had to find the second key before Marcus returned with reinforcements. The box was heavier than it looked. As I turned it over, I noticed something odd about the base, a slight seam that shouldn't have been there. Pressing the hidden catch, a small compartment sprang open. Inside lay another key, smaller than the first, and a folded piece of paper. My hands shook as I read the faded words. "The second door leads to the real treasure. But be warned, once opened, there's no going back. Choose wisely, my dear." Through the office window, I could see Marcus's BMW pulling out of the parking lot. I had maybe an hour before he returned with the lawyers. Taking a deep breath, I stepped back into the main warehouse. The second door wasn't obvious. It took me 10 minutes of searching before I found it, cleverly concealed behind a large tapestry. The key fitted perfectly. As I turned it, I heard Marcus's car returning, tires screeching on asphalt. It was now or never. I pulled the door open and slipped inside, closing it behind me just as I heard multiple voices entering the warehouse. What I found in that hidden room would change everything, not just for me, but for the entire art world. But first, I had to figure out how to protect my inheritance from my own family. The hidden room was dark, but as my eyes adjusted, I could make out shapes in the dimness. My trembling fingers found a light switch, and what I saw made me gasp. The walls were lined with paintings, not just any paintings, masterpieces I'd only seen in textbooks. A small Vermeer, 2 unknown Van Goghs, what appeared to be an early Picasso. But it was the documentation beside each piece that truly stunned me. Meticulously organized folders contained provenance records, authentication certificates, and restoration notes, all in Grandpa's handwriting. He hadn't just collected these pieces. He'd rescued them, restored them, and kept them hidden for decades. Through the door, I could hear Marcus's angry voice. "Break it down if you have to. Everything in here belongs to Thompson Motors." "Sir," another voice cautioned, "the will specifically left this property to Miss Emma Thompson. Any forced entry could result in—" "I don't care. She's in there destroying company assets." I pulled out my phone with shaking hands and dialed the number of my old professor from art school, now a curator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. "Dr. Harrison? It's Emma Thompson. I need your help. Immediately." 40 minutes later, just as Marcus and his lawyers were discussing getting a court order, 3 black SUVs pulled up outside. Dr. Harrison stepped out, accompanied by museum security and a team of art authentication experts. "Emma," he called out, "are you all right?" I finally opened the hidden door, emerging with a thick folder of documentation. "I'm fine, and I'm ready to show you everything." Marcus started forward, but 2 museum security guards blocked his path. "What's going on? Who are these people?" "They're from the Metropolitan Museum of Art," I said calmly, "and they're here to authenticate and document my inheritance before anyone can interfere with it." Dr. Harrison's eyes widened as he surveyed the warehouse's contents. "My God," he whispered. "The rumors were true. Your grandfather was the guardian." "The what?" Marcus snapped. Dr. Harrison turned to him, his academic demeanor barely concealing his excitement. "For decades, the art world has whispered about a mysterious collector known only as the Guardian. Someone who quietly purchased and restored lost masterpieces, keeping them safe and preserved for future generations. No one knew who it was." "It was Grandpa," I said softly. "All those business trips, the mysterious appointments, he was building this collection, saving pieces that would have been lost or destroyed." Victoria, who had just arrived, scoffed. "So what?" "We'll sell them. The company could use the capital for expansion." "No," I stated firmly, "you won't." "Because Grandpa did something else very clever." I held up a document from the folder. "He created a private foundation with me as the sole trustee. Everything in this warehouse belongs to the foundation. It can never be sold or used as collateral." Marcus snatched the paper, his face reddening as he read. "This is impossible. Father would never." "Your grandfather," Dr. Harrison interrupted, "just created one of the most important private art collections in the world. These pieces aren't just valuable, they're priceless. Museum directors will be begging for the chance to display them." Over the next few hours, the team documented everything. The main warehouse contained over $100 million in antiques and furniture. But the hidden room, those pieces were worth billions. My family stood helplessly by as each treasure was cataloged. The lawyers confirmed it. The foundation was ironclad. I had complete control. "I don't understand," Victoria finally said, her voice small. "Why you? Why not Marcus? He's the businessman." I smiled, remembering countless hours spent with Grandpa, learning about brush strokes and canvas aging, maker's marks, and authentication techniques. Because I never saw these pieces as just assets on a balance sheet. I saw them the way Grandpa did, as pieces of history that deserved to be preserved. 1 week later, I stood in my new office. The warehouse had been converted into a state-of-the-art conservation facility. The Thompson Foundation for Art Preservation was already making headlines in the art world. Marcus tried to fight it in court, of course. But Grandpa's paperwork was perfect. The foundation now worked with major museums worldwide, loaning pieces for special exhibitions and funding restoration projects. The day we opened our first public gallery, I found another letter from Grandpa, hidden in the back of the music box. "My dearest Emma, by now you've discovered what I've spent my life collecting. Your brother sees cars as status symbols, your sister sees stocks as power. But you see beauty in broken things, value in what others discard. The world needs more people like you, Emma. The foundation is your chance to do what I did, but better. Find the lost treasures. Restore them. Share them with the world. And the next time someone laughs at your worthless passion, remember this: true value isn't always obvious at first glance. All my love, Grandpa William." I had the letter framed. It hangs in my office now, next to the rusty key that started it all. Marcus still runs Thompson Motors, though the company's reputation suffered when the story broke about him trying to seize a priceless art collection. Victoria eventually asked for a job at the foundation, but her heart wasn't in it. She left after 3 months. As for me, I'm living my dream surrounded by history and beauty. The foundation's work has helped recover dozens of lost masterpieces, and our restoration program is considered the best in the country. Last month, a young art student toured our facility. Her parents wanted her to study business instead of art history. I gave her an internship on the spot. Sometimes, standing in the gallery that was once a worthless warehouse, I think about that gray morning when my family laughed at my inheritance. The old saying is true, he who laughs last, laughs best. But I'm not laughing. I'm too busy doing what Grandpa knew I would, preserving beautiful things for future generations to enjoy. The key to happiness, I've learned, isn't always obvious. Sometimes it looks like a rusty old warehouse key that nobody else wants, and sometimes that's exactly what it's supposed to look like.